Hello people, and welcome to another anime review. Today, we're reviewing Tokyo Ghoul. Yeah, so I actually watched this when they aired it on Toonami a few years ago, and overall I really did enjoy the show, but after looking back at it now, what do I think? Now. And whether or not it's worth your time watching.
Do you want to come to the Tokyo Ghoul world with me?
No, clone number 2. I'm not going to this world. If you want to go, go, but it's a dangerous place.
Oh, don't be a party pooper. You can do that review another time and come join me.
It's not my...
This is going to be a blast.
That's your decision. All right.
You're being a
go
chicken,
if you want.
okay?
I don't care. Let's... All right. I'm just going to go ahead and review this, shall we?
Watch it, or you'll lose more than just limbs.
The story is set in modern-day Tokyo, but in this world, there are these creatures called ghouls, which only eat the flesh of humans to survive. Think of it as vampires that need to drink blood. We follow a young teen boy named Ken Kaneki, who dates a beautiful young girl, which ends up... yeah. But he is saved by luck. So he is operated on. And the only way to save him is to do a transplant of the ghoul that got killed with an organ. How is that possible? Now, he's a half-breed like Inuyasha. He has to live a life like a ghoul. And along the way, he will get involved in the ghoul world, in a battle between the ghouls and the Commission of Counter Ghoul. All in all, the story is interesting. But once Season 2 comes around, well, we'll get to that in a sec. I think my only issue is with the plot is that we don't go into much history of the world, like where the ghouls came from, or how certain historical events happened with ghouls, like World War II, or feudal Japan, or Europe, or what have you. I like the story. Though, Season 2, people had a lot of issues with it. Now, me personally, I didn't mind it, but the main characters, or at least one of the main characters, I can't really say too much without spoiling it. We'll get back to him in a sec. The music in the show is actually really great. It's got some impactful music, battle music, very touching ones too. I mean, it all blends well in Tokyo Ghoul. The opening, well, the first one at least, had this feel of, it was more of a serious song than a action type opening, and the first music was pretty catchy. The animation in here is actually really great. The art style looks so nice and beautiful, and action scenes are awesome. Everything animated wise is so good, but then again, it's also very gory. The gore and carnage is just, boy oh boy, so much pain in this show.
Tasty.
Now, the main character, like I said, we follow Ken Kaneki. He was just an ordinary young teen. He was basically an orphan by this point because he lost his mother. But then when he ran into the girl that was a ghoul, shit happened to him, and then he ended up becoming a half-ghoul because of an organ transplant. He's a bit shy and has this type of normal life that ended up turning upside down. Poor guy. But he will soon suffer a lot in this new world. The fact that he doesn't want to eat flesh, it conflicts with him. Through the show, we see him progress through just depressing states, knowing now that he isn't human anymore. And when he joins the cafe place, I love coffee. Good job, Kaneki. Good job. Good place. Which are also ghouls that are running it. He now sees the ghoul world and how to cope with reality. Overall, we understand what he's going through, but we also got to see him work at a place and get trained for any encounters of foes. He wants to try to bring humans and ghouls together, to understand each other, that both are at fault for certain things. But by the second half of the series, Route A, Season 2, this did not happen in the manga. They did some weird changes here. Now, personally, I didn't read the manga, but from what I've heard, this wasn't the direction they followed from the source material, because apparently the manga author wanted to change it. But they made him do this switch with a group, and some people would find it annoying and complain that it doesn't follow the books, which, yes, I get it. We know it doesn't follow the books because the author said he doesn't want it that way. Change it! But then again, I don't know how I feel about it. Maybe they should have just stuck with the book, because it's kind of weird what Kaneki ends up doing later in Season 2. It just... Then again, I guess there was a reason that they wanted to do it this way with his character, to understand more of the ghoul world, but I don't know. After the shit that he goes through later on, I mean... Would I really want to do that? The only friend he truly had is Hideyoshi, and he is worried about his friend knowing that he's now a ghoul. Toka, a young girl who works at the cafe place, and she too is a ghoul. We do see past points of when she was little, not to mention that she has a brother. She's pretty badass, so tough. Even when she does act like a bit of an ass to Kaneki, well, at least at the beginning, I don't know, there's something about her. She's intriguing. I like her. She's not as annoying as, let's say, Noelle or some specific anime female characters that I just do not like. Now Asuka could probably be in that category, but something about Asuka I also like. So she's a down... I don't know how to say. She's maybe not as aggressive like Asuka is to Shinji. She has her moments, but she's still a likable character. Or I guess you could say she's trying to make him tough because of, well, his life changes. She has an attitude and loudmouth, but also has a kind heart for her friend, and even forces herself to eat a food that her friend made her. But in this world, ghouls can't really eat human food. It makes them sick. But the fact that she'll do it for her friend, I mean, that's courage. She is a good friend. Now, through the first season, we saw her kick ass. But by the time Season 2 comes around, she is mostly studying to go to college and open up her own coffee shop. Good for her. Coffee. So all in all, when it comes to Season 2, she really isn't there at points to have some time to join in on the action or the fray of battle, except for the beginning of the season. But she is an interesting female anime character. Amon, a man who works for the CCG and hunts ghouls with his partner, Mado. We see him follow Mado's tactics in taking down ghouls. He really hates ghouls, but when he meets Kaneki, well, let's just say he hears what he has to say when they face each other. He wonders, but filled with rage for a certain character that dies. He just can't stand ghouls. He's an honorable, honest man, and wants to protect those he cares for. He also has a moment with Mado's daughter, and they take an interesting ride with him. Mado is a character who really seems to be evil, but what I heard from another reviewer is that they didn't really flesh out much of his characters and about what he does for his own reasons. We do get some past scenes with him as well, but that's in Season 2. Only a couple. When we see what he does, it's pretty wicked. Though on the other hand, he has his reasons, like I said, and why he hunts ghouls. At the beginning, you will hate him. There are a lot of interesting characters, from Hinami to Hideyoshi. I will say, Hinami's voice actress really, oh my gosh. She really did a good job with her character. The way she expressed her emotion really actually will grab you. Especially at a specific scene. She really made you feel for her a lot. While season 2 would end up fleshing out some other characters or adding some stuff with the characters, which is nice, season 2 still gets a little bit affected with what I mentioned with the shift with Kaneki. And even characters that the main heroes were facing, they end up joining them. At least one was fleshed out a little bit better with him joining the good guys. But the other one kind of... All in all, though, interesting characters. You'll love some, you'll hate some. Bada bing, bada boom. Now, as for my enjoyment, overall, I really enjoyed Tokyo Ghoul. The first season was the best one. Season 2, it's good, but it's got some issues that I can understand why people say what they say with Kaneki and that odd shift, which in the very end of that season, it all came around to how the manga concluded, which is kind of odd. I mean, it's kind of funny how they took this shift, but they still came around to the end of the manga. Like, they still were able to squeeze it all into that little point. Anyways, so yeah, while it's an entertaining ride, there are, the 2 issues. I don't want to say too much, but when you watch it, you'll understand if you ever decide to watch it. While the last episode ends in this... Okay, I don't want to give too much about the last episode of Season 2, but let's just say they kind of conclude it to where there could be more to follow up with a specific thing that happens, but I'm not going to go into more details than that. Though, if you've been following the manga, well, then there you go. Well, Tokyo Ghoul, I can say I personally enjoyed this show. It really had some impactful moments, and also just an interesting show by day's end. Sadly, there may be some issues where you might be a little bit like, I don't really like that direction, or I don't really care much how season 2 went around with this. But don't get me wrong, you're still going to enjoy season 2. It's just, if you rather had a better adaptation, then this ain't for you. Because they don't adapt it like how most animes would be adapted today, well, by today's standards. They go in a different direction a little bit, but then they kind of come back around from the manga. Overall, I still think it is worth a watch, because it still has some pretty cool moments, and it's just an interesting show overall. Whether or not you will love it or hate it, I mean, it's really up to you by that point. I would say it's still worth a watch for you to decide if you love or hate it. Besides, it's also got some very interesting characters too, so they'll keep you engaged. Anyways, this is Arturelia signing off for today, and I also want to give a shout out to a friend. He actually went to a con a few years ago, and he actually got the voice actor that did Kaneki to sign this for me. Pretty cool. He seems like a pretty nice actor, voice actor, from what my friend described to me after getting this signed. But yeah, would like to hang it up somewhere if I can. Anyways, peace.
I wonder why it's been so slow lately.
Probably because of the increase in doves. Nobody wants to risk going outside while they're snooping around.
Hello. Welcome, sir.
Oh, can I have some coffee? Boy, I gotta tell you, Tokyo Ghoul, this world, as gnarly as it is, I mean, I've seen my fair share of warfare, of how gory it is, but boy, you guys make the best cup of coffees here. It's really good. I think I'll stay here for a little while.
Okay, we've given you plenty of time. Can we come in now?
You know, on second thought, I might go back to my own world. Thank you very much. I'm not gonna stay here anymore. Wait a minute. His name's Jason. He has a hockey mask.